Hello everyone, Linda Israel here, and I am now working on the violet page for my rainbow junk journal pages that I've been making. I've already made, let's see, we'll get them all out here so you can see them. And I have videos for each one, a tutorial. So we have the red page, the orange page, the yellow page, the green page, the blue or indigo page, and then, the blue page, and then the indigo page. And then this is going to be the violet. And I went a little more red violet than violet because I'm using images from my digital journal kit that Calico Collage has helped me with called Linda's Wisdom. So I've got a few pages of that. I've got a page out of a large Bible. I've got a napkin, and then this was part of a mop-up. So let's get started here. I'm going to begin by embellishing these pieces a little bit. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to use some Tulip Dimensional Glitter Paint. This is just another way to add a little bit extra oomph, if you will. And what I'm going to do is basically outline this flower petal just a little bit that's on this digital download. So I'm just adding a little bit of glitter paint to that. I'm going to set this aside to dry, and then I'm going to do the same on this page. And this will take just a little bit to dry, so I'm going to set this aside because we're going to work on another portion. So here I have a page that's already been trimmed down to the size that I need. Basically, for this junk journal, it is approximately 10.5 by 8 inches tall. And we do this because the group that I'm in, the Friendly Junk Journal people, we have a page swap. So I wanted these pages to be the same size so that if you are trying to come up with an idea for a page, you'll be able to say, oh, well, Linda used the same size, so I can use that as well. And what I have here is a napkin that I picked up that just so happens this was used to make my mixed media postcards that I did for a swap, and I happen to have some left. But it's got multiple layers on it, so you need to make sure that you separate those. Sometimes the layers come off very easily, like that one layer did. Sometimes if you can't get a hold of the next layer, you can use some Scotch tape, but I can see this one is starting to separate, so I'm going to try to grab it here. Alright, so you want to make sure that you're all the way down to just the one layer, and I'm going to set this aside for a moment. I've got it all ready. And what I want to do with this is I need to apply some glue stick to this. So I'm going to get a scrap of paper here. Let me find one. I will just use this. If it's laying around, it gets used in my studio. Alright, so I've just got standard glue stick. Any brand will do, even if it's one of those great big ones that's purple and turns clear. So I know that I'm going to put this napkin on the upper portion of this page. So I'm looking at this. So I don't need to come all the way down to the bottom. So I'm just going to come to basically from right about here. And it's okay if you go beyond that because the glue stick, it dries clear and it isn't sticky after it is completely dry. So I'm going to go all the way around the perimeter, and then I'm going to do some zigzags in the middle. And you want a nice juicy glue stick for this so that the napkin will stick. Alright, and then the next thing I do is I lay out the napkin. So I'm going to move some stuff here out of my way. And then I'll take my page and line it up in the corner of the napkin. Actually, I don't need to go that far. I want to go this far. I'm going to line it up with the crease because I only want the top portion of my page. So I'm just going to lay it down and then press gently and then it will stick to my napkin. And I guess I turned my page over, so now I gotta put glue up here. So don't do as I do. Make sure you have it right side up. If there is any glue on the bottom that you want to hurry along in drying, I'm just wiping it up with an extra napkin that was laying on my desk. You could cover the whole page, but I plan on putting something over the bottom, so I didn't need to worry about that. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this out. You can use a paper trimmer, you can use scissors, you could use a ruler and an X-Acto knife, whatever works for you. In fact, I'm going to try using a craft knife to trim this down. I've got a rotary cutter here, and I think that will have better results because the craft knife was dragging and tearing. There. So that cut that free. And I'll save that leftover napkin to use somewhere else. And I'm going to look at this side. This side needs to be trimmed just a little bit as well. Prior to the video, I used Tattered Angel's Glimmer Mist in my spray box. And so I sprayed for another portion that I'll show you in a moment, and this was a scrap left over, and then I just took a 1-inch strip of fabric and went over the top. So this is 2 thicknesses of paper out of a dictionary, and that's going to go across the bottom here. So we got my pocket, so that covers up the bottom that you don't see. And the next thing I'm going to do is take this to my sewing machine, and I'm going to sew down each side. I'm going to leave the top and the bottom open for now. I'm just going to sew down the sides, and I'll be right back. If you don't want to sew, you could just glue this in place on the top of the sides, on the 3 sides, so that it's ready to go. All right, I'll be back. So I have gone down the sides here, and it's open on the bottom at the moment. So I'm going to set this aside because I want to work on some other stuff, and the glitter paint isn't completely dry yet on this piece. So what I want to do with this piece is I've got part of the ephemera page with the Linda's Wisdom had this saying, and I thought what I would do is attach it to this piece. So I'm just going to use some Distress ink around the edge really fast. And then I'll use some Scrap Perfect glue, the best glue ever. And we're going to make a little outline on the back side of this to adhere it down. So I just made little squiggles. And I'm going to put that right about here. So we're going to let this continue to dry the glitter paint, and we'll be back to that in a moment. I went by, let's see, it looks like Lowe's, and I picked up some paint chips. And I just thought this was a neat color because it kind of goes with my color theme here. And I thought, well, why not I decorate this? So I've got another one of the phrases. So we'll just kind of zoom in so you can see that. And I'm going to add some Distress ink to the edge of it. I want to adhere this down on here, so I'm going to add some glue to the back side. And then let's place that right about here. So you still get to see the names of the paint, and it just adds a little interest to this. Well, I thought, because I made a journal to go with this kit, or this page, I had some leftover scraps. So the top portion has a rounded corner. So I'm going to use my Crop-A-Dile and the 1/2-inch corner rounder. And let's see if we can kind of get this corner to match the other just a little bit. And while we're at it, I'm going to round the corners of this piece on the top with the 1/2-inch. So it kind of gives that a finished look. And then what I'm going to do is take these and put them on the back side so it becomes a little notepad. And I'm going to take my sewing machine and put a zigzag stitch across the top. You could also staple this together if you like, but I just like the way stitches look. So let me do that and I'll be right back. Well, here is the paint chips with it sewn across the top. And then here are a place to write. Several different pages here. I think there's 6 in total there. Alright, we'll set this aside. Okay, now I have my spray box with my lace stencil that's in my shop. And I have one of the pages that we added the glitter to. So I'm going to turn it over. Actually, I don't need to spray this one. I had to think about this for a moment. This one I need to spray, and it is going to be a page that flips back and forth. So I'm going to turn this over to the back side, and let's see if I want to do it this way. Let's do it this way. I just want to add a little bit of color and interest to this. I have a couple of colors of Tattered Angels. This one is Pop Rocks, and this one is Strong Pink. This one has mica in it, so you want to make sure that you shake it really well. This one does not, but it has a pigment, so you want to make sure it's shook up as well. So I'm just going to lightly mist this. I don't want a whole bunch, just a little bit, just so I can add a little interest, and it kind of matches the rest of the page. And I'm just going to mop up the excess that's on top, and this comes in handy for other elements that I could use in my junk journal later on down the line. For example, I've been saving all of these every time I make a page so that I can have additional writing pages. So that's what it looks like after it's been sprayed. So now what I'm going to do is I've got the Calico Collage digital print. I have the napkin page. So I'm going to flip this over to the back side, and I'm going to put this on top. Now, I'm trying to decide right now if I want to have stitching down the sides visible on the front, or if I just want it on the top of the bottom. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead with this separate, all by itself. I'm going to add stitches down this side and this side, just so that it's kind of complete. That's the way I think of it. It's not going to serve a purpose other than to be decorative. And then I will take these two pieces and I will sew across the top and across the bottom, and that will attach these together. So let me sew those and I'll be right back. When I sewed these, I used some binder clips to keep these together and lined up. Otherwise, if they shift on you, your page could buckle and warp. I had that issue with the purple page that I made. So it's good to get them secured together. You could also glue them before you sew them, and then that way you know they're not going to move. Really, the sewing is because I like the decorative look of it. So depends on what you like to do. You could glue these together. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this as one unit, so I'm just kind of holding in the middle because that can kind of lift, and I'm going to pull it over and then just crease it so that I know that's where the spine of this piece is, okay? And then this was a piece that was left over from cutting up a piece to make a little journal to go inside, and I need to trim this. So I'm just going to trim across the top here so that it fits within my page when I close this. So I've trimmed that down, and I need to attach it, but as I'm looking at it, I want to add a little bit more to it. So I have a little piece of fabric here, and I think what I want to do is make a little tab. So I'm going to trim off a piece. It's about a 2 by 2 inch piece. So when you fold it in half, and this is what I found as a trick, if you fold it and then kind of finger press it, then you know where the center part is. And I think I want to put it kind of down low on here. So what I'll do next is I'll get just a little bit of glue just to help hold it in place while I sew. I'm going to put a little glue here. It doesn't have to be filled in with glue. Now, if you're not going to sew, then just put a nice generous amount of glue on there. And then what I'm going to do is kind of keeping that lined up. So I want this above where my text is. I want to have a little bit of a lapse or overlap sticking out. So I'm just going to lay it down on top of my tab and then fold this over and press it into place. So it's not a huge tab sticking out, just a little tab sticking out. I'm going to give the glue a moment to set, and then I'm going to take it to my sewing machine and add some stitches right there. Alright, so I've stitched that in place, so it's on there, and this is the other side of it. And I want this to be in the center of this little journal page, so I'm just making sure that it's lined up and in the center. And to help keep it from moving, I'm going to put a binder clip on it, just so I don't have it shift on me, because there's nothing like having your piece of paper shift out of the way. And then I have some washi tape here. Hopefully I have enough for what I want to do. If not, I'll piece some together. And what I'm going to do with this washi tape, I'm going to turn this so I can see it better, is I'm going to put it to where it is half on this page and half on this page. Starting right even at the bottom of the page that I'm attaching, and go all the way up and finger press it into place. And then I'm going to trim off at the top. Alright, I think it shifted on me, so I'm going to just a little make it even. Okay, so that's taped into place on this side. So I will flip this over, and then I'm going to put tape on the other side. Doing the same thing, even with the top, even with the bottom, all the way down. And looky there, I had just enough. So this is a great way if you have a special piece of paper that you want to add to a junk journal page and you're trying to figure out how to get it there so that you know exactly where it is, you like what it looks like. Attach it with some washi tape. You could also attach it with strips of paper that you glue on both sides to make a hinge to fit into your journal page. Well, let's start filling up this little journal page that we've created here. I've made a couple of tags. This is also part of the kit, Linda's Wisdom. Basically, I cut cardstock for the back and put the digital image on top, added some more of that glitter paint, added little strips of fabric so it matches. We're going to put one there, one back here. We've got our little notepad, so that's going to fit right in here so you can see the love. And then this will be a pocket here on the journal page, and I made a journal. So basically I took the other half of this image and trimmed it down to fit on a piece of cardstock that is approximately, I think it was 7 1/4 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Almost 9 3/4. Yeah, 9 3/4 by 7 1/4. And then this will fit right here inside this journal page. So you have additional journal writing space. So let's look at it again. Here's the front cover. Here is the journal that I created, and then you flip this over and you've got a pocket with some journaling cards and tags. Then here's a page, so you have additional journal space, another tag, and then this is a pocket as well that can have other things added to it. Well, I hope you enjoyed seeing this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Share this video with your friends. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and hit that notification bell at the top so that you get a notification the next time I do a video. Check the description box for links for the items that I used today. And if you really like to support me, I've even created a Patreon, and I would greatly appreciate your patronage. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. Have a fabulous day. Oh, and stay tuned. Soon I will show you the cover for all these journal pages that are going to be put together in this rainbow journal. Again, thanks for watching. Bye.